Welcome to Fringe Fanatics with Chad Lee and Chris Zane.
And we are back. It is episode 15 of Fringe Fanatics. I am Chris Zane.
And I am Chad Lee. Thanks for tuning in.
Chad, how you doing today?
Doing pretty good.
Yeah, we are hitting some struggles. We're trying to get through them, having a little bit of issues. We're recording again today because we lost the first part of the episode to some audio difficulties. So that is why we're here. Things are a little bit different today.
Yeah, but we're going to get through it. I got faith.
We're going to do a little bit of a shorter episode. We're going to skip the leadoff shot because we did that last night. He's abstaining from drinking 2 nights in a row, which I don't blame him for. It's very smart of him. So
I've got shit to do tonight.
So, yeah, no leadoff shot. We're going to hit the bias buzzer beater, and then we're going to run down our Week 14 picks, deep dives, and breakdowns, and then we're going to get out of here. So that way we have a full show. So we did go to the Empower Field and watch the Broncos and Chiefs game where the Chiefs rolled on the Broncos, although the Broncos did make it a close game, and we did have a pretty good time with the live stream. Things went well.
Oh, it went really well. We got some good feedback from the live stream, too. I think people really enjoyed that.
Definitely. It was cool seeing all the Don's people. It had been
that was
a
good
long time since I've seen them. A few years since we all went to a game. I met Samir for the first time. That was before we even did fantasy football. So that was a long time
definitely. But yeah, you got to meet the whole crew. I think there was like 15 or 16 of us that ended up going there, but it was a lot of fun. And we met some cool people, some strangers that walked up to us. There was a guy selling these huddle hats. Chris bought one.
Huddle hats right here. Oh, whoa. Doyle Lamphere is his name. You could catch them on Instagram at Huddle Hat or on Facebook at Huddle Up. They're super cool beanies with detachable face masks. I did buy one. You can see it on the live stream. If you want to check it out, please do.
They're really cool.
We need to get some more views on the live stream as well as everything else. So
yeah,
if you're watching right now, please like, share, subscribe, and follow, and rate us on whatever you're watching. 5 stars all the way because you know we're that good. So
please rate us.
Please rate me. I need it in my life.
Yeah,
I need to be rated.
We need those affirmations.
Yes, indeed. So here's to the leadoff shot. Cheers, Chad. Cheers to you guys. Rolling on to the bias buzzer beater. We are doing something a little bit different. Again, everything's going to be a little bit shorter. Things are different this week. But we are doing a little bit longer of a bias buzzer beater as me and Chad are going to tag team the Nuggets on this one. So this is a little bit of a different thing than we've had in the past. But we're going to get going on that right now. Chad,
here we go.
Hit that timer.
Okay, the Nugs are third in the West right now. They're playing tonight at 7 o'clock against the Wizards and
Washington.
Yeah, the Washington Wizards.
Mm-hmm.
So right now the Nuggets are 16-10. Most recently they beat the Jazz, and Jokic recorded his 80th triple-double, career triple-double. He had a great game. In that game, Murray had also 30 points and 5 assists. He's really starting to step up, and like you said, we're seeing teases of what we've seen in the past.
Yeah, and definitely. And, we saw it in that game when he had the game winner against Portland and went off against Dame, and they kind of had that little back and forth at the end that he's finally there. He's coming.
Yeah, he's, in the game before that, he had a really huge game where they were in Portland, and this is probably about, almost a week ago, where Dame, with about, what did you say, like 2 seconds to go, hit a 3-pointer, and we all thought the game was over.
He's doing the Dame time celebration, tapping
his wrist, just, stunting on himself. And then right after that, Jokic dishes it off to Murray. 0.9 seconds left on the clock. He hits a step-back 3 and then ruins the Portland parade, and
it was awesome.
It was amazing. It's those type of heroics we've seen from Murray, and that game gave me a lot of flashbacks to the 2019 Western Conference Finals when we saw these teams just go head-to-head, battle back and forth.
Yeah, they definitely did. And it was just nice to see Murray there at the end being that guy, the clutch guy.
He's been so clutch in the past, and so it's really nice to see that again, and I really hope we continue to see
Yeah, that's something that Jokic really doesn't like to do. He is definitely more of the guy that's going to give it to somebody else to take a shot. He will if he has to, but it is nice to see Murray finally there. So
yeah, he draws so much attention that there's always going to be some guy open. So like you said, as long as they're keeping their head up and looking, then
you're going to get the ball. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And then another guy we need to talk about, Aaron Gordon. The guy's finally found his correct role on this team, which, the last couple of years he's been kind of put into like a number 2, number 3 type player, and that's just not where he needs to be. He's more of like a I don't want to say a role player, but he has his role on the team, and that's where he needs to be right now. He doesn't need to be relied on like he has been in the past, and I think you see him kind of flourishing.
Yeah, it's crazy because he's actually good at the 3 ball sometimes. It's not like he has a super high percentage, but they let him shoot
He's
it.
standing there, get it to him.
Yeah,
he can make it.
Yeah, every now and then he'll really hit it.
And then the dunks. Let's not forget about the dunks, Chad.
Yeah, definitely not. They're demonstrative, to say the least. I mean, that dude has ups.
Yeah, and we talked about it briefly before, but he won, he lost one of the better dunk competitions in the last probably 10 years. And, he was robbed, but we get to see it on a nightly basis with at least one huge.
And that's it.
Oh, man.
Yep. So that's the Nuggets for you guys.
Shit.
Thanks for listening to that. I know there's 29 other teams out there, but we love our Nuggets. And they're starting to come on. They're trying. They really need to win tonight against a bad Wizards
They need to get
team.
a little bit more healthy. MPJ needs to get back and stay healthy, and then this team can make a legitimate push. I think they're at that kind of point where this could be Malone's, they might start talking about his job soon if he doesn't start getting him somewhere further in the playoffs.
Having a back-to-back MVP and really
Nothing
not
really to
getting
show for it.
out of the first round, they might. That's a good point. They might start looking at somebody else.
I hope not. I like him as a coach. I like how
too.
he calls out the team, and I
does.
appreciate the way he holds everybody accountable. But eventually you got to do something.
You got to move on.
Yeah, you can't just be a perennial playoff team.
But I still have faith in him as well. We'll see how it goes.
All right, let's get into those Week 14 picks, deep dives, and breakdowns. This week, Chad, we got beat up pretty bad. We didn't do too good.
Yeah, there was a few upsets that didn't really go our way. We saw the Panthers upset the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. I had the Steelers picked, and they lost. The Cardinals lost, and a lot of those were due to injuries.
Yeah, definitely. Injuries are definitely starting to rack up now on a bunch of teams, and a bunch of key players are getting hurt pretty good. We were about 50% basically.
Yeah,
60% if
7
you will.
for 13, right?
7 out of 13, both of us. This week was tough, and this week as well could also be tough. There's a lot of games for one, and a lot of games that could easily be upsets. So we'll see how it goes.
We'll see.
You want to start the deep dive?
Yes, I do.
Okay, you go for it, Chad.
Get into this because this was our whiskey wager. I'm not going to make you do another whiskey shot. We did one just last night. He had to pay up for that whiskey wager because he picked the Vikings and I took the Lions, and the Lions prevailed. Detroit proved to the masses why Las Vegas had them favored. 2 of Goff's 3 TD passes came 40-plus yards deep. One of those went to Jameson Williams, which was his first career catch. And then he gave the ball to his dad in the stands, which is really cool.
That is cool.
I thought that was awesome. And then the other went to a 48-yard pass to DJ Chark, who's another great weapon for them. The Vikings could have clinched the division title with the win, and they failed to do that. I mean, that Kirk Cousins was talking about how that was a hat and shirt game. It's kind of weird how he's looking forward to that. I think you would really be setting your sights a little further than that, but whatever.
Who knows?
So
Kirk Thuggins.
he had a valiant effort. He put up 425 yards, and half of those went to Justin Jefferson with 223 yards. I mean, the guy is a beast.
That's a franchise record, isn't it?
It is a franchise record.
That's crazy.
I mean, he had 11 catches. It's just nobody can stop him. I mean, some guys like Sauce Gardner and a few others can stifle him a little bit, but if he's going up against a bad defense, he's going to eat.
He definitely has been, which is nice for if you have him on your fantasy team. Number 1 fantasy receiver, I think. Or is it Travis Kelce now?
I would imagine that it's probably I'm not sure about fantasy, but as far as receiving yards, Justin Jefferson has on the dot 1,500 yards. He's 40 yards above Tyreek Hill.
That's crazy.
Yep. All right, so the Vikings on their opening possession, Cook was stopped on a 4th and 1, and that would kind of told the tale of the tape for the rest of the game because of their offensive woes. Cook also averaged 1.5 yards per carry on 15 carries. So, I mean, he wasn't productive at all. He also had a huge mistake where they were driving. They were on the Lions' 6-yard line and then fumbled on a mishandled snap. That was a really,
it's a backbreaker right there.
That is a backbreaker. Then Dan Campbell was super gutsy in this game. He called a fake punt on their own 26 that ended up being a run for 42 yards, and that just ignited the whole team. That changed the game right there. And then to seal the game, he didn't even know about it. We found out later in an interview with Pat McAfee, where his offensive coordinator tried checking with him. They wanted to run this tight end screen, if you will, where Penei Sewell checks in as a tight end, as an eligible lineman, and then pulls in motion, and then caught a pass, and that
critical first down on that.
It was a very critical first down, and it's funny because Dan Campbell's reaction was like, "What the fuck are we doing?"
He's like, "I'm watching all the people doing the wave." He's like, "I don't know what the fuck we're doing."
Couldn't imagine Bill Belichick being like, "I got distracted watching the wave."
Yeah, never. But hey, dude, it's
Never.
working.
Yeah.
What were we saying? They were like the first 7 games. They're like 1-6, and
They
now
were
they're
1-7 in their first 8 games, and now they're 6-1. No, they've won their last
the
5
6,
out of
I
6
think.
or
Yeah,
something.
5
Yeah,
out of 6.
Yeah.
And Jared Goff has had a resurgence, man. The guy's looking pretty damn good. He's got weapons all over. Like you said, Jameson Williams. This guy tore his ACL in like January or February,
Yeah.
and just scored his first NFL touchdown. That's a hell of a turnaround to come back from an ACL. You've got guys like Swift. What's the other running back's name? Williams.
So I've
Jamal
got all of
Williams.
their weapons listed here because I just wanted to go over it because it's insane the wealth of riches they have. And also the third touchdown pass went to Josh Reynolds. He's another really fast guy. So they have Amon-Ra, the sun god, St. Brown, very talented.
Yep.
DJ Chark, which was a great pickup from the Jags. They have DeAndre Swift, great running back from Georgia. Jamal Williams, who's a touchdown machine. Like you said, more touchdowns than the Denver Broncos team. And Jameson Williams, who, if nobody saw his college tape, if people don't watch college football out there, just type in Jameson Williams highlights from Alabama. That guy is a baller.
Yeah.
I mean, he was hauling in passes. I mean, he just made all of those Alabama quarterbacks look great. So I could really see them making a push. I mean, right now they have the Bills, and the other few games they have, I think that if they win all of those and lose to the Bills, they can still make the playoffs.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think that after the way the year started, where we were hoping and rooting for him after the Hard Knocks episodes, and then now to have them actually be in playoff contention is insane.
Right? Yeah, it's nuts, and we all love to see it because Dan Campbell's he's a players guy, and I really hope they go far.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let me get on to my deep dive, which would be Houston at Dallas, and this was a game that we had pegged as a total blowout last week, with Dallas favored by 16.5 by game time. Ended up being one of the better games of the week, as Houston had Dallas on the ropes for the majority of the game. They just couldn't finish it off, what would have been the upset of the year more than likely. After picking off Prescott for the second time of the game on the Dallas 4-yard line, up by 3 points with 5 minutes and 47 seconds to go, the strength of the defense for Dallas came through and held the Texans to a 4-and-out. And with the ball on their own 2, Prescott began a 98-yard game-winning drive, aided heavily by 3 receptions from Dalton Schultz, who had 6 receptions and 87 yards on the day. That also set up Elliott's 1-yard touchdown run. Elliott and Pollard both had huge games. Elliott, 15 carries, 62 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 receptions for 19 yards. And Pollard is the RB1 for sure. I don't know how you can have any argument at this point anymore.
He's so good catching balls out of the backfield.
Who did I call him last night? Did I say
Austin Eckler.
Oh yeah, Austin Eckler, definitely.
Yeah.
He's looking like Austin Eckler out there. I mean, he's a guy who can still get in there, run through the tackles, and take on some linebackers and D linemen. But out of the backfield catching the ball, this guy is a weapon. Let's see what his stat line was: 10 carries, 42 yards, 1 touchdown, 4 receptions for 20 yards, and another touchdown. So 2 scores added to his tally in this game. This 2-headed running back duo, damn near averaging like 20 points a game between the 2 of them if you average out their last 4 games together. I think Elliott's over 16.5 every week, and then Pollard's over 20.
I'm so glad I drafted him.
Yeah, not a better running back duo right now, I don't think, that
No.
you can come up with. Houston, on the other hand, we're talking the worst team in the league, and after benching Davis Mills for the last 2 games, they finally brought him back. He goes 16 of 21 for 175 yards. And then Lovie Smith is just throwing stuff at the wall at this point. He's bringing in Jeff Driscoll as a wildcat. He's got wildcat formations. Driscoll doesn't do much. 4 of 6, 38 yards, 7 carries for 78 yards. So he did have a pretty good chunk on the ground. But yeah, they're going to be drafting the number 1 QB next year, and it's looking like it could be. There's a lot of people saying it's the kid from Alabama. What's his name? Bryce Young. So.
Yeah. Probably him or Caleb Williams. We'll have to see how the combine goes and how the workouts for the pro days goes. But I think they should take Caleb Williams, in my opinion. But
I agree. He definitely seems like he's more of the. I mean, you got to look at the success that the Eagles are having, and with Jalen Hurts, and just be like, that's the type of guy you want.
Yeah, everything's moving that way.
Yeah,
I mean, Patrick Mahomes even moves. You look at Josh Allen. That's what everybody does.
And then if you don't have him on your fantasy team and you're looking for a wide receiver, Chris Moore did have his career best game with 10 receptions for 124 yards for the Texans. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I've never heard of him
We
before.
ran into this last night and I didn't check again. Don't know who he is, but he had a decent game. Trayvon Diggs had a pretty wild fumble recovery in this game. You can watch a pretty funny highlight of it. He picks up the ball, basically runs about 60 yards back and forth, and then ended up gaining maybe 15 to 20 yards. So that was pretty funny. Also had a simultaneous pick with Israel Mukuamu, which he is now arguing that there should be half interceptions, like half sacks. So I don't know if he's right or wrong, but if there's half sacks, you should be able to get a half interception.
You would think so. It's worth noting, too, Damian Pierce had to leave the game with the ankle sprain.
And
I just saw news.
He will miss this next week.
I just saw that, too. I see news right here that this came out 3 hours ago. He's going to miss up to 3 weeks, so I'm sure he's going to be out the rest of the year.
Dang.
And they got the Chiefs coming up this week where they have a lot of players injured, and I think they're really trying to hold on to that number 1 draft pick.
I bet you see a lot of Chiefs sitting by the third quarter in this game.
I hope so. God, they need to finally blow a team out and finish the blowout.
Of course, for all we know, it could be like the Dallas game.
You never know.
Houston's up at halftime.
Houston's scrappy. They don't want to go down easy.
All right, let's get into the breakdowns. The first one's going to be Tampa Bay versus San Francisco. San Francisco absolutely wallops Tom Brady and the Buccaneers 35-7. Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, is making his case for Tom Brady 2.0. We're talking 2 late-round quarterbacks that are lighting the world on fire in their first couple starts.
I'd say he's quite relevant right now.
Yeah, he's making a case just to drop that ear part,
He'll be playing tomorrow night. Relevant. We'll get his first look at prime time. So, the defense for the 49ers right now, I think ever since they got their doors blown off by the Chiefs, they haven't allowed more than, I think, 17 points, I believe it is.
Their second half defense is insane.
It's so crazy.
They're hardly allowing any points in the second half.
I guarantee I would put $100 right now on a sports book that DeMeco Ryans will be a head coach next year.
Yeah, probably.
There's no doubt about it. But, so Brock Purdy only had 185 yards. That's all he needed to get the job done. He did have a rushing TD, which was pretty impressive. The big story for this game, though, was Deebo Samuel suffered an ankle injury. It's looking like he'll come back during the regular season.
I still think that's wild. Just shut him down to the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely.
Why? But whatever.
Yeah, I was hearing news, too, about I can't remember. Oh, you were telling me that Jerry Rice was criticizing him for
he said,
running
please
up the middle and
running
stuff.
our skill players up the middle because you have
Christian McCaffrey.
Not Christian McCaffrey. Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, all these guys. Trey Lance that got hurt.
Trey Lance and now Deebo all doing quarterback sneaks. Deebo running up the middle.
Yeah.
Knee and ankle injuries. So he's just like, please stop. But that's their offense, man. What are you going to do?
I know. It's just part of it. It was kind of a freak play where a guy kind of rolled up on him. And it sucks. Deebo's he's one of those players where I've joked around about if I was to get another jersey, I would get a Deebo Samuel jersey because the guy is – he's a powerhouse, man. He's really cool. He's fun to watch. That was kind of a bummer, but I'm sure they're going to be all right. They seem to be just trouncing teams here lately. The veterans on the Niners seem to really have a lot of faith in Brock Purdy.
Yeah, Bosa came out and said, this guy, we could tell in training camp he's got something.
Yep. Trent Williams came out the week before after that when he stepped in for Jimmy G and had a lot of faith in him. He said when he came into the huddle, had a lot of command in his voice and calling the plays. And then Fred Warner also said, I'm not really shocked by this. And so if you got guys like that have been around the 49ers for a while, that says a lot.
Especially for a guy who's a seventh, like literally the last pick in the draft, to have people like backing you like that. Yeah. I mean, you can hardly get that as like a second or third round quarterback if you're a backup.
Well, you look at Zach Wilson right now. I mean, he's lost a lot.
Who?
Yeah, nobody cares about Zach Wilson
Dude,
right now.
they're all about Mike White. That
They
guy
are.
died on the field damn near. And
Went
kept
to the
coming back.
hospital, and he's probably sitting in the hospital bed like, put me in, I'm ready to go back.
But I mean, even with Brock Purdy, I mean, this is a team that it's that West Coast offense. We've touched on it before. You don't need a quarterback that does everything. You just need a guy that can get the ball to people, and that's what Purdy's doing.
That's what
when
Kyle
you've got
Shanahan's
guys
so
like
good about.
Christian McCaffrey, 14 carries, 119 yards, 1 touchdown rushing, 2 receptions, 34 yards, 1 touchdown receiving. You've got Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, and I didn't realize too that, and they have Jawan Jennings, who we talked about last week. But
Big third down guy.
they were beating up on the Bucks so bad that they rested Christian McCaffrey for like the last 28 minutes of the game. So
Still look at that stat line.
and it's that's insane, and because they've got that Thursday night game, so that's what they were looking towards.
Yeah.
They're like, let's beat the hell out of them so that we can get these guys rested, because a lot of them are kind of dealing with little nagging injuries. So that little rest that they got from just kicking the shit out of the Bucks is really going to help.
Yeah.
them. Oh, I mean, we didn't even really talk about the other side because we were, the 49ers.
Oh, one
are the
thing we got to
that
mention,
won.
though. We didn't mention this. Mr. Relevant, the first rookie quarterback making his
Yes.
first start against Brady to win.
We could not forget that. Thank you.
7 others have tried, and
And
7 others have failed.
Yeah.
But not Mr. Purdy. Not
Yeah.
Purdy Birdie.
Yeah. I heard today on a podcast that he has a nickname in the locker room, and it's maybe too vulgar to say on the podcast, but it's kind of funny.
I don't know. Now I want to know what it is.
Well, it's big rhymes with Brock.
Purdy.
Is he just carries, I guess, so much confidence
Yeah.
that the locker room are just giving him.
We've
big,
said enough terrible things on the show.
I
We
know,
could
I'm
probably
just
say
joking.
that.
I'm
Big
just doing
cock
it.
Purdy.
That's what they've been calling him. I'm like, God damn, they really respect this dude.
Yeah, hey, I'll take that nickname. Jesus. Brady, though.
And he can't throw. There was that 4th and goal play where Mike Evans was wide open. We've seen him hit that a million times. Mike Evans, all he had to do was hit that back shoulder, and he threw at Mike Evans' feet.
Yeah.
And the whole team's out of sync right now.
It doesn't look good. But, I mean, they're going to slide into the playoffs with a losing record and win a division.
I've got a hunch that I don't really see that happening. The Panthers win this week, and the Bucks lose, which is going to happen because they're playing Cincinnati.
I think they have the tiebreaker on them, don't they?
Well, they do, but I'm saying that I think the
Yeah.
Panthers might go on a roll. They've got the Steelers. Kenny
They've
Pickett's
got a
out.
defense to do it, and they're playing better now since that Broncos game. They've been playing good.
The Panthers?
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, Kenny Pickett had a concussion, so Mitchell Trubisky's going to step in. And Mitchell Trubisky, when he has to start, sucks.
Terrible.
When he has to step into a game, can play really good. For some reason, this is just the way it goes for him. But I see the Panthers winning again this week, and they're going to make it a run for this NFC South.
It's possible, man. I don't know.
It's the worst division in football by far. But I really hope the 49ers get the Cowboys in the playoffs because I would love to see that game.
Yeah, in terms of Tampa Bay, some other notable fantasy stats, if you will. Rashad White, 13 carries, 56 yards, 5 receptions, 21 yards. And Godwin was the leading receiver with this awesome stat line, 5 receptions for 54 yards.
Yeah.
So-
And, Mike Evans could have had a high stat game too. He had that 60-yard touchdown catch that got called back because of Donovan Smith's holding call. When that's the second week in a row there's been a touchdown that's got called back by Donovan Smith. He's killing that team.
That's hard to do when you're an offensive lineman. I mean, you can affect the game. We had that issue with Garrett Bowles and holding calls, but when you're racing touchdowns on back-to-back weeks, that's grounds for cutting.
I would be so pissed if I was that quarterback or wide
Imagine
receiver.
what Brady said to him.
Yeah.
Because Brady probably fucking
Well, see,
annihilated him.
I've got a friend at work that's a Bucks fan, and he was talking about how he was so pissed at Brady because you saw, and I've got it actually written down here. I meant to talk about it. How you saw how he was screaming at Mike Evans and other wide receivers for messing up and stuff. But what's so fucked up about that, and this is what this guy at work was saying, that how can you do that when you're missing throws left and right?
Yeah.
When you're not even you're throwing at the ground, when you're inaccurate. So to me, you can't yell at those guys when you're
It's not their fault.
performing right either. It's like you can only do that if you're doing everything right.
I heard something too, and I don't know how legit this is, but supposedly before the game, the night before, Brady is changing the offensive game plan.
No way, really?
That's what I heard. I don't know where that was from. I read it, but there's reports that Brady is changing the offensive game plan from what the coaches have going into the game.
Like the night before.
Yeah.
Does he tell the rest of the team?
It doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, apparently.
I don't know if they know, but he's doing it.
I mean, they just can't get anything going. And honestly, I'm not mad about it because I'm ready. If you look at the top 5 passing leaders right now in passing yards, it's crazy because he's still in there, surprisingly. But this is the new
every
generation.
Game, he's almost 300 yards,
Yeah.
right around there. He's
a
a little low this
A
game.
lot of
He's
it's garbage time, too.
something,
I mean,
but-
they're still not putting up over 17 points.
They're
But
not.
it's crazy because you look at this right here. When I was looking at this today, to me, I was like, wow, this really is an indication of the new generation of the NFL. Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, and Tom Brady, and then Josh Allen.
Yeah.
4 of those 5 guys are the new generation.
Well, and Josh Allen's been on a downtick the last couple of weeks. That offense is looking a little bit questionable from the beginning.
I think
of
he
the
had
season.
his career low with like 123 yards
Yeah,
last
they
week.
didn't look good, but they pulled it out. But
Yeah. All right, let's get into the Jags and Titans game. This was another upset that we didn't. No, you had the Jags pick, didn't you?
I did pick the Jags.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this was one that
this
I
is
had wrong.
this is how we tied because the whiskey wager would have put you ahead of me if we didn't pick the same on this.
I almost
one.
picked the Jags too, but it was just tough. But man,
I get why you didn't, but Trevor Lawrence, man, 30 out of 42, 368 yards, 3 touchdowns in the last 3 games. This is his second game with over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And in that game in between, he still threw like 200 and something and 1 touchdown. So in the last 3 games, this guy has 7 touchdowns and like 1,000 yards passing.
I think in that one game is when he got all rolled up on. It looked like his knee was broken.
Yeah.
So he didn't even play the full game.
So yeah, this guy's looking like he might be that generational quarterback finally.
It was
Peterson,
announced. Yeah, it was announced today. Sorry to interrupt. That he was the player of the week for the AFC too.
I believe
First
it. Look
time
at
in
his
his career.
stats. But yeah, I mean, Doug Peterson is looking like he's working his magic finally. I think it was just taking a little bit to get rid of all that rust that Bourbon Urban,
All that bad voodoo that Urban Meyer
whatever
put
he
in
did
there.
to that team. It took almost 14 weeks to get rid of it, but here we are, and this team is making a push for the playoffs. ETN had a terrible game, 17 carries, 32 yards. Evan Ingram, though, if he's on the waiver wire, which he is in some leagues still, he might have gotten grabbed after this
Monster
week.
game.
11 receptions, 162 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I think he was the leading scorer in fantasy this week.
He doesn't even look like a tight end. He reminds me of like a big
He's just
wide
big-ass
receiver.
wide receiver.
Yeah, that's really what he is. But a big story from this game is the Jags defense, who caused 4 turnovers, capitalized on that.
20 points. Look at that. Jinx, Cokes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17,
That's
18,
enough.
20, 21. Okay, sorry.
They also had 4 sacks in the game, and I mean they were really this is what I've got written down here because it's kind of nuts how Derrick Henry, it looked like he was gonna just tear up the Jags like he's done so many times. He had 96 yards in the first quarter.
Yeah, if someone gave you a printout and somehow it ran out of ink on the second half, you would think that Eric Henry went for 300 yards.
Right, like, oh, what happened? Okay, did we?
Yeah,
mess
what
it-
did he have, like 100?
Finished with 121, and
I
he
think
had
he had like
100,
119 and a half. though.
119, and then he
So
had.
what happened in the second half?
I know it's the same thing that happened when the Chiefs played him too. Like they'll use him a lot, and
And they stop.
and then they just stop. I don't get what's
I
happening.
think they
with that.
get behind and they start to realize. Well, and that's the problem with any
They're
running team. You
They're
can't.
so one-dimensional.
Once a team gets ahead of you, you
Yep.
can't run the ball to get ahead.
Yeah.
You want to run the ball when you have the lead to keep your lead, but you can't do it the other way. So, like, when you got a team, like, especially with Jacksonville last week, just throwing it all over the yard,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't even hardly run the ball. Like
They
I
have-
said, their leading rusher, 32 yards.
Well,
So-
they don't think they needed to either because the Titans' pass defense is one of the worst in the league. So I think they were really taking advantage of that. The Titans turned it over on downs with 1:58 left in the game, and that allowed the Jags to run the clock out. And I think that was just super demoralizing for them where, when they can't even convert on a short yardage situation, then, that's not the Titans that we've known in the past couple of years.
Yeah, and I think we're just kind of seeing, the fallout and the blowback from getting rid of A.J. Brown, man. How stupid do they look now?
Well, they got their GM fired.
Yeah, after getting an extension this year, they fired that guy.
After getting extension, that's what's nuts,
They
man.
still got to pay him all that money.
AJ
dude.
Brown came in. He was
Thankfully, it don't count against the cap.
like, yep.
Gotta love them coaches' salaries.
So also, I wanted to mention here that, Trevor Lawrence having this huge improvement and a resurgence this year, and almost making, if it wasn't for Geno Smith, I'd say he's making a case for comeback player of the year. I don't think he'll get it because Geno, but he's up there, building it, and Jared Goff as well. He is. We talked about that too. But I just want to note he's going to be getting Calvin Ridley next year.
I know that's one thing that quietly everybody's forgotten about, that they effectively traded for a number 1 wide receiver for next to nothing.
As long as Calvin Ridley doesn't gamble, then he should be there.
Yeah, we'll see. He's had a lot of time off, so we don't know.
Hopefully he's been training.
So yeah, you've got you're gonna have Calvin Ridley, you're gonna have Evan Ingram at tight end, you're gonna have Zay Jones now, who's making a huge resurgence in terms of where he has been at.
Travis Etienne is good.
Yeah, so they've got a lot of weapons. And
Christian Kirk.
Yep.
They
traded for him. That was one of the first wide receiver signings where everybody was like, "What the hell are you doing?"
And I criticized it so much, and everybody did, and it kind of.
And you drafted him this year, and he did pretty well for you.
Yeah, he's been doing pretty decent for me, but it's nuts because when that happened, I mean, everybody just raked the Jags over the coals for it because he set the wide receiver market in the offseason. That's what led.
He broke it, if you will.
He did, because that's what led Devontae to be like, oh, if Christian Kirk, a guy that's a number 2 wide receiver, is getting 20 plus mil.
Imagine what I can get.
And then so Devontae goes and gets 30. And then so Tyreek's like, no, I need
31 and a half.
So Christian just set this domino effect. And then so he's kind of proven why he deserves the money. He's having a great year.
Yeah, that's one nice thing about him. I saw, like, in terms of red zone efficiency, I think he has the most yards in the red zone and
really
up there in terms of touchdowns. But yeah, this team's looking like they're going to make a legit push, and if they can keep it going, they have a real chance to win the AFC South at the rate they're going. They got to keep going. But
that would be great, especially with the slump that the Titans are in.
Yeah, imagine this. The Lions and the Jaguars are in the playoffs. And 1 year after being the 2 worst teams in the NFL.
Yeah. So this is why I love the NFL. You see these turnarounds, and it's just fantastic.
Yeah, and it's nice to see these things happening now, because back in the day, you didn't have trades like you do now, and like you're able to kind of make a swing like this, where back in the day, you're talking like a 5-year plan. If you're the Broncos, it's like a 9 or 10-year plan, but most teams could probably turn around in 4 to 5.
And it's huge, too, where a lot of these teams are finding great players later in the rounds, where I feel like there's so much more talent because there's so much more football camps. There's a lot, I mean, the college and how these guys are able just to focus on skill sets and just put their whole youth into getting better, where you can get great players. I mean, what we talked about last night, Isaiah Pacheco falling to the 7th round and now looking like a stud for the Chiefs.
Starting running back.
You never would have thought, like, most times 7th rounders don't even make the team.
No, most time they're just lucky to be practice squad guys.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's crazy, man. We're winding down, dude.
Yep, we're getting close.
4
to
weeks
the playoffs.
left.
Crunch time, man. So.
Or no, not 4 weeks. Yeah, 4 weeks.
Yep.
There's this week and then 3
extra
more.
Week, but
dang, man. And then football season's over.
Yeah.
Just playoffs, and then it's going to end real quick.
Then we dive into the NBA.
NBA, NHL,
NHL,
pickleball, cricket, whatever we can.
We'll get into it all.
All right, man. So that's going to wrap up the Week 14 picks, deep dives, and breakdowns. God, I hope this sounds good.
I sure hope so, man. I am nervous as fuck. We've been having some technical difficulties, so cross your fingers with us, guys.
Yeah, I wish you guys knew what we've been going through. But as long as it sounds good, that's all I care about. And coming up next, I hope this sounds good. You've got Thea, the music break band of the month, coming at you with You Can't Change Me. So we will catch you guys after this. are back. You just heard Faya. The name of that song was You Can't Change Me. You can find Faya anywhere you stream your music. You can buy their music or buy their merch at Faya210.com. That is FEA210.com. If you like that song, please go and purchase it, like, follow, and share their stuff. And let's hope that they do the same. And we all make something out of this. So, Chad, we are back now. What time is it?
It's time for the shot at the turn.
Shot at the turn.
Cheers, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
Rolling right
Appreciate
along.
you. Ugh.
Nice.
So we're going to fly through this last little bit. We just got a little bit of NBA fast break to get to you. Like Samir said, we do need to come up with some sort of
Yeah, that's a good call.
little something to go into this.
Yeah, we'll find
Squeaky sneakers.
Yeah, a little sound bite to go with it.
Definitely. One thing I did want to mention, have you seen Luke Cornett from the Celtics trying to throw off shots from over 20 feet away?
No.
There'll be guys taking shots from the logo, and he'll be in the paint with his hands up. Just in front of him. There's nobody in front, in between the two of them. He's standing with his hands
He's just
up.
distracting.
It's working.
No way.
Yeah. They did a little bit of a study, and in the G League, people that when he was standing there like that were down almost 4% in their 3-point shooting.
4% is a big number.
So apparently, as long as you stand 20 to 30 feet in front of people and just hold your hands up, it's enough to throw off their shooting.
Maybe you don't have to stand right in front of them. That's
You don't.
enough. That's kind of interesting.
Chad, what happened here?
I don't know. The game froze. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but the
Game froze.
Bucks are up a lot, so
Yeah, it looked like it was kind of a blowout, so it doesn't really matter.
I
at
might
this point.
refresh it here in a second. We'll see.
Let's move on to the fast break. Right now, you'll be hearing hopefully some cool new squeaky noises. Who knows? Maybe you won't. We'll see how it goes. We're gonna start with the Eastern Conference, rolling into or Chad. What did you want to talk about?
I'll go ahead and go over your the standings, and then I'll hit some news stories.
That's fair. We'll edit this little part. All right. Starting with the Eastern Conference, we got Boston in first, still rolling at 21-7. Unfortunately, they did lose to the Clippers. Kawhi looked like the best he has since he tore his ACL, making 10 of 12 shots for 25 points, 2 3-pointers, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists, as they hand the Celtics one of their only 7 losses of the season, which is pretty wild at this point. The duo of Leonard and George combined to outscore Jalen and Tatum. Like I said, Leonard did get the 25 points. 25 points. George did come in with 26 points. Jalen, 20 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and Tatum, 21 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists. Those guys definitely are still 2 of the top players in the NBA, which is really nice to have them both on your team.
Yeah.
Not to mention having one of the all-defensive guys and Marcus Smart as well. But surprisingly, the best offensive and defensive team in the NBA was outplayed on both ends of the court in this game. They're trying to regroup against the Lakers tonight at 8 p.m., so we'll see what happens there. Moving on to the Bucks, sitting in second. They're at 19-7. They lose a tough one in Houston. They were playing Houston, whose coach Steven Silas just lost his father, John Silas, Hall of Fame NBA player and coach. Jalen Green had 30 points in this game, and Kevin Porter Jr. had 18 points and 7 assists to extend their home winning streak to 4 games. Giannis did have a pretty damn good game, 16 points, 18 rebounds, 4 assists. He scored his 15,000th point in the second quarter, but with the Bucks shooting around 37%, they were like 12 of 43 on 3-pointers, which is crazy. They also committed 16 turnovers, and they were outscored in the paint 56-36. They take on the Warriors tonight.
They're currently whooping up on them right now too. So
yeah,
I think they're bouncing
What did it
back
update
pretty
to
good.
now that the
we're 108-87.
Dang, son.
Yeah, they're whooping them.
108-87.
Damn,
Warriors.
the Suns. Sorry to bounce off that and go to the
go for
West,
it.
but
That's where we're moving next anyways.
I've got the scores right here, and they're down by 23 to the Rockets.
Wow.
Not
Rockets
good.
Are the Rockets at home?
Yeah.
They might be getting their 5th home game win. So they might be continuing that to a 5-game winning streak.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to the Western Conference. You've got New Orleans in first, which I think everybody might be surprised to hear that. They're sitting at 18-8.
Good Cinderella story
We
there.
talked about this on the live stream. New Orleans won emphatically over the Suns, 129-124. What was that, Saturday night?
Yeah, and Chris Paul became a crybaby about it, and a few of the other players.
Yep. Zion scores 35 points for the second time in 2 games and capped off this game with the tomahawk dunk heard around the sports world, moving New Orleans into first place over the Suns. Real quick, though, McCollum, which I think quietly might be one of the better free agent signings of the year, added another 29 points to the Pels tally. The Suns were missing Booker, who left the game with hamstring tightness. New Orleans takes on the beat-up Jazz tonight. So
I think the Grizzlies are in second right now.
They are.
Yeah.
Grizzlies are in second. They're sitting at 18-9. They were a little hurt when they took on the Hawks, but Tyus Jones goes for 22 points and 11 assists, along with Dylan Brooks, 18 points, to help the Grizz maul the Hawks 128-103. Both teams were without key starters, and Santi Aldama scored 16 points, and Jaren Jackson Jr. had 15 points and a career-high 8 blocks for the Grizzlies. Also, big note, Memphis outscored Atlanta 72-42 in the paint. That's huge.
Wow.
That's bully ball right there.
Yeah.
They're taking on the Bucks this Thursday, the 15th. So we'll see.
If they're not good in the paint, then they're going to get trounced by Giannis.
Yeah, it's possible. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Nugs, though, we touched on already. They're sitting in third in the West. I just had to bring that up.
Yeah, they're hanging in there. Okay, so, excuse me. Embiid on Sunday night put up 53 against the Hornets. He continues to further his MVP campaign. He's trying to get that award. The Sixers.
He really tried last year. He just couldn't pull it off.
He just couldn't pull it off because he's really up and down. There's some games where he's okay. Some games he goes really cold. And then some games he has 53. But that comes against a really bad team in the Hornets. All right. We already touched on Jokic having his 80th triple-double. Something I wanted to touch on is last week when we did the podcast, I mentioned how the next day I was going to watch the Celtics and Suns, which was going to be the number 1 team in the West against the number 1 team in the East. And holy shit, did the Celtics just dominate that game. I mean, from the get-go. At one point, they were up by 45. I know this game's a week ago, but this game's got to be brought up because of how the Suns, even since then, that was like the beginning of their snowball where they have started to fall.
They've definitely fallen off.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. They get Chris Paul back and they're starting to play worse. But it was also an indicator, too, of how good the Celtics are. I mean, they just beat up on the Suns like they were a high school team.
They really did, and it goes to show you. I mean, I know they had an off night. Obviously, I spoke about them losing, but I mean, it's going to happen to any team. Like we said, 82-game season. You're not going to win them all, but when it comes to the teams that are going to be there in the playoffs, if you dominate them,
it says a lot.
It says a lot.
It does, and the fact that the Suns didn't show up is, to me, a translation of how they don't show up in the playoffs. I mean, we've seen it year and year and again. Chris Paul has horrible luck in the playoffs, and he also has horrible performances in the playoffs. And to me, that's just – I don't like Chris Paul. So
I don't either, especially after the Nuggets had their little run with him. I just felt like he whines about every single call, and they never tee him up. And then the Nuggets, on the other hand, would get teed up right away for some bullshit.
Well, when they played the Pelicans the other night, I don't know if you saw it, but it's gone around Twitter where he deliberately, Jose Alvarado, who's an up-and-coming star for the Pelicans, tried driving in, and he's had this nagging rib injury. And Chris Paul, I don't know if you saw this, came around and tried to act like he was reaching for the ball and hit him right in the ribs. And the guy clearly was just like wincing in pain. And you got to think, like, I mean, Chris Paul's had this history of dirty plays. When is this going to be brought up that Chris Paul needs to be teed up, like you said, and it being brought to the attention of him not just being a State Farm, All-American in the mainstream type guy, but more of a type of a Patrick Beverly type guy, where he's a dirty player.
Or Lance Stevenson. Remember when he was blowing in LeBron's ear and shit?
Yeah. Just fucking with him. I just can't stand Chris Paul. He is a whiner, and the fact that the Suns are falling off right now is, perfect for that.
I like it. I'm so sick of the Suns and 4 guy. Like, I know that hasn't been a thing for a while, but that was really upsetting. You remember that?
That sucked. I hated
Nuggets
that.
fans got in a fight with that dude?
And I think that happened in Denver, too. Okay, so let's move on since we're talking about the Pelicans. The Pelicans are the real deal. They've got scoring in the paint. They've got They've got a high 3-point percentage. They've got good production from the bench. They've also won 14 of their last 16.
That's damn good.
I mean, they got this new up-and-coming guy, Jose Alvarado. They've got C.J. McCollum, which is looking like the acquisition of the year last year. Of course, Brandon Ingram, and then Zion, who now healthy, looks like a dominator.
Yeah, now
like
he lost some
up-and-coming
pounds.
Shaq, maybe.
He's looking like, Shaq, like a more athletic Shaq.
Seriously. Their only 2 losses in that 14-16 came to the Celtics and the Grizzlies, and in that Celtics game, Zion didn't play. So, you can't really fault him too much for that.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
And so, it's just watch out for the Pelicans.
Yeah, I can honestly say I would not have thought that the Pelicans would be leading the West right now, but there's a possibility they might be leading the West down the stretch. So
They could be. I mean, C.J. McCollum has stepped it up. He was always that number 2 guy when he was on the Blazers under Dame, but he's
now
really
he
stepped
almost
up.
gets to get into be that Dame role where he's like that guy, which it might be good for him. It might not. I mean, we'll see how it plays out in the long run. I mean, if I'm the Nuggets, I would love to play them in the 7-game series.
I think we match up well against them.
That's the only thing that's crazy about like the NBA and stuff. It's just with the 7-game series, dude. It's just it's hard to beat somebody that many times.
You never know. That's
never
what I
know.
love about the NBA. The last news story I got to hit is the fact that today the announcements were made where they changed the names of some awards. I'm only going to hit on 3 here. The Rookie of the Year award, which was changed to Wilt Chamberlain.
That's fair.
The Defensive Player of the Year
I'll take Wilt.
was Akeem Olajuwon.
One more time.
Akeem Olajuwon. God, I fucked it up again. Why do I keep fucking up these names? Which I know so well.
Olajuwon.
Olajuwon. Man,
That's close.
It's like the pressure puts me on.
I fuck up way more on names, so I just gotta really.
I know,
just
right?
Give it to
You
when
should.
we
You
fuck
put me
up.
over the grill for it. That's deserving. He was a great defensive player. We'll get into the principle of this in a second after this last one, which is the big one. The MVP has now been changed to the Michael Jordan Award. He didn't even want this change to it. When he was asked about it, he said that there were more deserving players, which were, Wilt, Jerry West, Magic Johnson.
I mean, Jerry's already the logo.
Yeah. He know what's great about Michael Jordan is conceited as he may have an outlook, especially after
Still
the last
somewhat
dance.
of a realist.
Yeah. He knows that he doesn't even like being called the GOAT. A lot of times it's considered he is the GOAT, but he doesn't like that term because he knows Larry Bird, he brought his name up.
Another good one.
I don't like that they changed these awards to names. I don't know why they did this. I don't think it's deserving.
Yeah, just keep it the MVP.
Just keep it the Defensive Player of the Year. Just keep it the Rookie of the Year. I mean, it gets the point across. I don't think it's necessary. I don't know why the NBA did this, but for now on, the MVP will be called the Michael Jordan Award.
I mean, it makes sense, but I get why he's not about it.
Yeah,
It makes you feel like an asshole.
I've always loved Michael Jordan. I've been a fan of his since I was 8 years old. But the fact is, I am glad that he is humble about this and didn't want the name to be the MVP.
Yeah, it makes me feel like if it was LeBron or something,
that would
it's the
suck.
same situation, he'd probably be like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll take it. We'll talk about it on the shop.
Definitely, yeah.
But, yeah, so that is what it is, just to give you guys some news. You guys can let us know how you feel about it.
So, yeah, that's going to do it for the fast break. And right now, we're going to get into the Week 15 picks against the spread. Let's hope it's better than last week, Chad. We didn't do good.
Yeah, and we need to redeem ourselves here.
Let's hope so. First game of the week, Thursday, December 15th, San Francisco 49ers at the Seattle Seahawks. What's this game sitting at, Chad?
It's at 3.5 points for the visiting Niners.
So, I mean, with the 3 push for the home team, you're looking about a 50-50 game. I don't think it's that close. I think by the time this game starts, it'll probably be a little bit more leaning towards San Francisco. I've got San Francisco. What do you got, Chad?
I've got San Francisco as well. The Seahawks backfield is very banged up. Homer's hurt. Walker's hurt. DJ Dallas is hurt. I think they may be trying to call up Frank Gore to get in there maybe. Who knows? But, yeah.
I don't know if you saw it. Did you see the Bills got Cole Beasley down
Cole Beasley
retiring?
back, yep. Going to be firing off the guns. That dude looks like he's from an old Western movie.
He really does.
Yeah, Brock Purdy, I expect for him to have a stellar game in this one. Like I said earlier, I could be wrong, but I see glimpses of maybe a Brady-esque type of guy. Especially if you look at Brady's early career, that dude had the best defense, luckily. And so
He definitely did.
I think, with Purdy having that with San Francisco, I'd see them definitely taking this game.
He's got more weapons than Brady did in the beginning.
That game is the Thursday night game. The next game, Saturday, 11 a.m.
Oh, shit. We're moving to Saturday. Fuck.
Yeah.
All right, so we got both San Fran in that game. Moving on to Saturday, the first game, which I believe is going to be at 1 p.m., Indianapolis at Minnesota. I got Minnesota bouncing back on this one. I think they're going to be pretty pissed off about losing to the Lions.
Yeah.
I think they're going to take it out on Indianapolis, who, I don't know what's going on with
I think the word for this game is desperation. They have to win this game. Obviously they're going to get the division, but I think as far as momentum and morale, they need to get this game.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say if they lose this one, the Jeff Saturday experiment is over before this Sunday.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
I think he'll finish out the year. He's not going to get fired.
So
but I think they'll know by this Sunday if this guy is worthy of an actual coaching job, which to this point he hasn't.
Which leads me to my next prediction. Minnesota's favored by 4 at home. I don't know what this one is, guys. It's 4.5. You have a different one. So
that's why we're just going to roll with
I
yours.
would take
I
Indy
these off,
to
so
cover.
we don't know.
I think they still make this a game because Jeff Saturday can rally this team. Minnesota's pass defense is very shoddy. So I would expect for Pittman, Paris Campbell to maybe have a good game. I think, they will make it a game, but I do think the Vikings pull it out. So let's go to Saturday, 2:30. Make sure you guys get your fantasy lineup set Thursday and Friday if you guys got players playing Saturday because
especially
it is
the 1 o'clock game. That's 11 o'clock Mountain Time.
More than likely the fantasy playoffs.
Easy
you can't
to forget
drop
about
the ball on that. Which we're both in the playoffs.
Yeah, right now, thanks you to the 8 teams that I helped vote for to get you in.
Yeah,
thank you. Not that I did that to get you in. I just felt like it was fun.
I know you did. Best friends for life.
Best friends for life. I've got Cleveland in this one.
I do.
Baltimore is on their 3rd string quarterback, who I can't remember who his name is, but Tyler Huntley might be out.
Dude, I can't think of his name either. But when I saw I didn't even realize Tyler Huntley exited this game. And
I didn't either until
I literally have here scratched the Ravens to win, and then when I noticed that he went out, I was like, "Oh, I'm changing this," because he went out with a concussion.
It's tough. We were at the game on Sunday, so.
Well, yeah, but Huntley exited with a concussion, so anytime it's a quarterback that gets a concussion, they're going to keep him out the next week. So they're going to bring in Shane Falco, maybe? Who knows?
Possibly. I'm going to try and see what his name is. I know he's got a name. He exists.
He exists.
Anthony Brown?
Yeah. Is that not the cornerback for the Dallas Cowboys?
He is the 3rd string quarterback for the Ravens.
I don't know who the fuck that is.
He might be a cornerback that's now going to be the quarterback.
This is a tough game to pick.
Hey, the Broncos last year had to turn Kendall Hinton from a wide receiver to a quarterback.
And I know you kept mentioning he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. God damn.
Hall of Fame quarterback, Kendall Hinton.
Fucking broken
Dude,
record.
His gloves are in the Hall of Fame.
I don't care.
Okay?
I don't care.
They're in there.
Listen, for what I've got for this game is Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins, all right?
I didn't start him last week. I'm starting him this week, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. He had a great game last week, especially against the Cleveland defense, which is shoddy. I think he's going to be getting it.
Shoddy.
Yeah, they've got to get it. When it comes to pass,
Garrett, Davian.
When it comes to pass rush, Garrett's great, but when it comes to run defense, they're not that great. So I could see Dobbins getting well over 100 yards in this game.
Well, I'm going to start him for sure because I think that's all they're going to have.
But I still got the Browns to pick. I've got because of the quarterback.
Man, I don't know. How funny would it be if Deshaun Watson
Just loses 3 straight games. I hope so.
against a third string quarterback?
He's going to be calling up the Orchids of Asia
God.
over in Lakewood. Like, I need
No.
a massage.
I need a massage. There was a funny video that came out. Did you see that where he was rubbing his hamstring? He's laying on the ground rubbing his hamstring. And it was like when nobody's legally allowed to massage you.
That's
He's
good.
like
That's
laying
good.
there, his like legs up in the air.
I gotta
like,
mention.
rubbing
I think
it.
I sent it to you. One of my favorite ones is the one that Hannah sent me, and it's from the movie "That's My Boy" with Adam Sandler, and it's when they go to the bachelor party, and he's like, "We should be getting hand jobs. What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Oh man, just that was
they
so.
just gonna massage us?
Oh my god, I just that was so perfect.
Oh man, yeah.
So I've got Cleveland picked in this game. They're favored by 2.5.
All right, well, let's keep.
That's the 2:30
rolling.
Saturday game. Paying attention to your fantasy lineups this weekend. There are Saturday
we spent
games.
way too much time on that one.
We did.
Miami versus Buffalo. I've got Buffalo. Where are
I've
you
got
gonna go?
Buffalo picked too. I think Miami is starting to fall into a slump here. Their offensive line's really taking a hit with Armstead being really banged up. I think, it's crazy with Von Miller being out. The Bills' offensive line, even though Ed Oliver is hurt, they're stepping up.
Ugh, sorry for continuing to yawn.
Am I boring you, Chris?
no,
what the
I
fuck's
just-
going on?
My brother told me at like 4:30 yesterday, he's like, we're going out at 12:30 to do snow removal. And then like 11 came, he's like, we're going out at 2:30. And I was like, okay. And then like 1:30, he's like, we're going out at 3 o'clock. And I was like, okay, cool. And then at 2 o'clock, when I started the coffee maker and got ready to go, he's like, I don't think we're going out.
There's no snow.
I
I
was
saw
like,
a picture
what
from
the
a
fuck
neighbor.
do you mean we're not going out?
I posted it in our neighborhood community where it was so almost mystical, where there was literally a circle around Denver, or there's snow
just
around
didn't-
North Colorado, South Colorado, East,
Dude,
West.
we got it. Like, we didn't get much. We got like maybe
half
an inch.
Yeah.
And then I drove in to drop my truck off for snow removal. No fucking snow.
Yeah.
Once you got past Brighton, no snow.
It's literally like there was some kind of alien portal or something.
we
where
were
there
in
was
the eye
nothing.
of the storm.
Yeah, it was
Everything
fucking
was good.
weird. So
Oh, we now are total Colorado people talking about the fucking weather.
yeah.
Moving on, we both got Buffalo, Philadelphia versus Chicago.
Oh,
Philadelphia.
the Bills are favored by 7.5. Take
Oh,
the Bills
thank
in
you.
that.
Yeah, take the Bills.
Oh, that's the Saturday 6:15, the Saturday night game too.
Yeah, so that's going to be the last game of the night on Saturday. Basically, your Sunday night, Monday night football game, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Saturday night football. Who knows who will be doing the commentary? One of the major sports. I don't know. It might be Joe Buck. Who knows? My voice is going as we keep going. Philadelphia at Chicago. I got Philly, man. I don't see how Chicago could make this a good game, but I just think
literally
Philly's just way better.
have 2 things written down for this. Blowout, expect another 40 burger.
I'm not going to do that anymore. We said that about Dallas and Houston.
No, that's
I
different.
think you got to go any given Sunday on this.
I really
I'm going
think
any given
Jalen Hurts has locked up the MVP and he's going to continue it because he's my fantasy quarterback and he's going to beat everybody.
I just want everybody to take note of this. Chad, with his Chiefs Kingdom fucking flag here and his Kansas City Chiefs sweatshirt right here, just said Jalen Hurts is his favorite.
I'm
to
a
win
realist, man. I'm a realist. I'm a
thank
sports
God.
analyst. All right.
There's a lot of the Kansas City fans.
I know,
that would just
ESPN's
never admit
recruiting me.
that, so I appreciate it.
I've gotten emails from ESPN being
I
like, "Dude,
understand
we
that
need
you're
you to
thinking more
replace
about your
Stephen A
career."
right now." Oh my God, come on now. I know I'm unbiased on this shit. All right.
I still think Russell wins the MVP. I don't know. Moving on to the next game, Atlanta at New Orleans. Dude, I've got Atlanta in this one. I think we make this the whiskey wager because I think you've got New Orleans.
How do you know I have New Orleans?
Because I just know everything.
You don't.
And here's why I'm going to tell you Atlanta wins. They've got the
Desmond
40-year-old
Ridder.
Desmond Ritter, who at 23 years old
Did you
looks
say
like
40-year-old?
Yeah, the 40-year-old Desmond Ritter, who at 23 years old looks older than Tom Brady, is going to come in and win this game because this team has been way too run heavy. They need something, anything, in the fucking passing game.
It possibly
Mariota
could happen.
sucks.
It possibly
done.
could happen. I mean, Andy Dalton is literally the meridian of quarterbacks. He is right at the middle, never above, never below. I am interested to see how Desmond Ritter does, but The pass defense by the Falcons has been a lot better because of A.J. Terrell coming back. But the game is in NOLA. I will take New Orleans. You want to make this the New Orleans? You get to make the whiskey wager this week, so I'll take New Orleans.
Dude, I'm fucking taking Atlanta.
I'll take New Orleans.
I don't know why you're Scottish or Irish.
Yeah.
But I will also take Nolans.
NOLA.
Nola.
That's a Cajun accent.
Fleur du lis or whatever they fucking call it.
I don't know, man. I'll take it.
Cultured we are. All right. Yeah, I've got Atlanta. Chad's got CM. That's the whiskey wager. So
put it down. I'm gonna write. Hold on. I gotta grab my goddamn
Chad's gonna
pen.
be taking a whiskey shot.
Whiskey.
Next week's the start of the terrible shot.
I think
I'm
I'm way winning on the whiskey wagers.
Canadian Mist for him to take a shot.
No, I'm gonna buy Canadian Deluxe for you to take the whiskey.
Moving on to
wager.
Detroit at New York Jets. That's a 1 p.m. game on Sunday. I've got Detroit, man. I don't know how healthy Mike White's going to be.
It's crazy.
The guy got checked for internal injuries.
Fucking rocked.
Got killed once, came back, got killed again.
Went to the hospital.
Went to the fucking hospital. Thought he was dying. Mike White, I think, is not going to play. So
if he plays in this game, it'll be a miracle, and the team's going to rally like a motherfucker.
Well, if he doesn't, Zach Wilson plays, and clearly the number 2 overall pick from 2 years ago is a fucking bust.
He's a douchebag. That's what he is.
Mike White was like a
look who they're playing.
Quarterback.
They're playing the team of Fringe Fanatics. So we both love the Lions. I'm taking the Lions in this purely because the Lions have scored 25-plus points in 5 straight games. That offense is reeling right now, man. And
they're kicking ass.
Last I checked, when I made my notes, the line was even. Yours is +5 for Detroit.
I could see that easily.
It's very even. Yeah, I could see it moving to Detroit as like 1.5 or so. So I would take Lions in this. So
yeah, I've got Lions. So we both got Lions.
Okay, next one. What you got?
We got Pittsburgh at Carolina. I've got Carolina. I don't know if Pickett's going to start, but I think Carolina, their defense.
Pickett got a concussion. If it's QB and he got a concussion, they're going to make him sit.
It doesn't always matter.
If you show me an example,
dude, I'm telling you, Russ is going to start this week.
Let's make that though. Let's do 2 shots. Let's make another whiskey wager. I ain't fucking scared.
It's hard to bet on head injuries though. You know. And then I feel bad that I like betting that like maybe he's like lost some brain cells.
No, he's not gonna start, dude. It's just protocol. That's all that is.
No, he might be feeling spicy.
No, Sierra's gonna tell him.
He might be ready to ride.
I need you to sit down. I need you to babysit Future's kids.
And she's gonna call Future real quick.
Yeah, Hey, I got a concert tonight.
And then meanwhile, Patrick's
got.
Let's fucking go!
Shut the fuck up, dude. You motherfucker. Hey, Brittany owns a soccer team, okay?
Because Mahomes paid for it,
he didn't.
Yeah,
no. I'll show you the tax records.
Yeah, I bet.
I will.
And this money magically appeared in her account from going to college.
Shut the fuck.
Come on, Chad.
She was a semi-pro soccer player.
Fucking
oh my God.
Chad,
things are getting heated.
Chad, do you want to talk about how much semi-pro female soccer players make?
Fucking God.
The fucking World Cup
crazy,
team
okay?
can't even make a third of what
crazy.
They had to split the money now because the guys were making too much.
Hey, the women deserve that, all right?
I agree. I'm not saying that they don't, but I'm just to sit here and tell me that you think that she can afford a fucking team is outrageous.
It's because of investors. That's why.
Peyton Manning's wife can.
God damn, we digress.
I think they own they fucking own somebody. Fuck, who is it? Oh,
I love how
major sports team.
When we make fun of each other's quarterbacks' wives, it goes into a fucking battle.
I know, it's funny though.
But it's worth it. I just
got to say that out of everybody, you might have the worst quarterback wife in the NFL.
I'd say that's probably right.
It's up there. That's not your fault. That's not Patrick Mahomes' fault. I mean,
high school sweethearts. All right, hey, whatever. All right.
All right. We need to move on. We're wasting too much fucking time.
What game were we even covering?
We are on Dallas at Jacksonville. We just did Pittsburgh at Carolina. I got Carolina. Who do you got?
What game?
Carolina at Pittsburgh.
Oh, God. You skipped the
I didn't.
Jags and Cowboys, didn't you?
No, we've done everything up until Carolina.
Did we cover the Jags and Cowboys? No, we didn't.
We haven't gotten there yet because we're on Carolina, Pittsburgh. Because I want to make sure I got your pick for that one.
God damn, I did this out of order. This is my fault. This is me.
I just need to send you this.
Email me this every week. I don't know why this is the order, but I just write it down from ESPN.
Well, okay. So where are you at? We'll go from where you're at.
No,
So
let's cover the goddamn Steelers and Panthers. I've got the Panthers pick.
Okay, I've got the Panthers picked. Okay, so we'll just
The
go off of mine.
the
Since I have a
Panthers-
fucking printout, Chad. I got fucking
I've got a
shit.
paper printout, so I've got a printer
This is now,
that makes it official.
This is now reality because it's on
Jesus Christ.
fucking paper.
I've got a legal pad.
This is
How does that make
papyrus.
it?
This is papyrus made from the Egyptians.
A legal
I had to
pad?
print it on.
That's what lawyers use.
Jesus Christ.
Come
Okay.
on.
Oh, you got me so
The
upset.
Panthers are favored by 2.5 at home. Kenny Pickett
You're
isn't
still
starting.
the fucking Panthers.
Yeah, the Panthers are going to win.
I know. Okay, so let's move on to Dallas and Jacksonville. We're getting
Right.
way off the rails, people.
Hey.
I've got Dallas. Jacksonville's
Cheers,
not
you
going to
son
win
of a
this one.
bitch. Take
Oh,
a
God
fucking
damn it.
drink. Take
Cheers.
a drink.
We're getting way off the rails on this
That's
one.
fine.
All right.
I've got the Cowboys obviously picked.
So do
But,
I.
okay, the Cowboys are favored by 4.5 visiting. I think the Jags put up a fight because the Cowboys, they'll pull through. But last week, Dallas lost Anthony Brown, their top quarterback, one of their top cornerbacks, and an offensive lineman for the year. Both for the year. The Jags are fucking fighting right now.
If I
man.
was a betting man, and I'm not,
Yes, you are.
not yet, till we start proving ourselves more right. If I was a betting man, I might put money on Jacksonville to cover this.
No, that's what
Not
I
only
was saying.
cover it, but maybe
Yeah.
win.
I picked the Cowboys to win, but
the safe bet's Dallas.
Yeah. All you Vegas bettors out there that are listening to us on who to put your money on, listen, don't put your house payment on us or anything like that. But
You can if you want, but just don't blame us.
I
if
mean,
you-
I'd
if
say
you
we're
get
pretty damn
foreclosed
good.
on.
But I'd say put the Jags to cover the 4.5 points.
I'm right there with you. And then we're going to move on to Kansas City. And after the close game that they had with Denver, Chad's picking Houston this week. He just said he felt like of those 21 answered points and then just, the
I feel
3
so
interceptions by Patrick Mahomes.
Betrayed
He
right
can't
now.
trust him anymore.
How you keep
so
putting words in my mouth. I'm about to fucking
Kansas City. I've got Kansas City because
Blows.
I live
yeah,
in realism.
damn right you do. So wait, you're a Kansas City fan? Is that what you just said?
No, I just know where you were at, so I went the opposite because I was like, if he's gonna pick Houston,
I think Chris just admitted he's a Kansas City
City.
fan. I think that's what happened. So
whatever you say,
Kansas City's
Kansas
favored
City's gonna win
by 14 and a half. They're gonna win. I expect if you want to make prop bets, it's nuts because Houston is the best against keeping quarterbacks down to a minimum, but they are the worst against running backs. So expect Pacheco, little Poppy, as EB likes to call him, to have a big game, or McKinnon.
I'm beginning to worry about this too with this two-headed monster in Kansas City. I think McKinnon might end up being still number
this
one.
Is Pacheco, man.
I don't know.
No, I expect Pacheco. Pacheco runs like a crazy man needing money. Like somebody stole his.
He's a rookie. He does need money.
Yeah, that's true. That's what he's running
Before
for.
his
And I'm fine with it.
Rookie contract is up, he might be retiring.
I might be
'cause he's
trying to get a
running back.
Pacheco jersey. You'll see.
And then it'll be just like the Cream Hunt jersey.
Don't
All right,
say
moving
that.
on. Chad and I both got Kansas City. They're favored by 14.5. Why
Son
even
of a
talk
bitch.
about this? Moving on to Arizona at Denver. Man, if Russ plays, which I hate to say it, Chad, I'm throwing curveballs at you. Next week, I'm going to send this to you.
Do it
I'm just
so
gonna
we can
fucking
be on
send it
the
to you.
same.
I
I'm like
didn't
flipping-
realize it. I thought they went in order of.
I don't
like,
know why ESPN in this. What website do you print this off of?
It's printyourbrackets.com, dude.
To print your brackets. Come, like that's an official.
This is
fucking-
official.
Oh my
Printyourbrackets.com.
god!
This is one of the best.
Nobody uses that.
Everybody does. Because when you Google Week 15 picks against the spread, guess what comes up, Chad? Pickyourbrackets.com.
How many people go to ESPN?
I don't know,
Everybody.
Chad. I don't know how ESPN does it.
All right.
Fucking
We'll go
assholes.
to Cards and Broncos, where, I almost want to pick the Cards in this because originally I had the Broncos pick, but just because of your, Chrisness, I'm fucking using this now.
It's like another term
No,
for
I-
asshole or dick bag.
I will pick the goddamn fucking Broncos because Colt McCoy and the Cardinals.
Dude, I hate to say
They're
if Russ
fucking
doesn't
lost,
play,
man.
Colt McCoy will win.
Well, okay, there's no way Russ plays. There's no way. He got rocked in that game, man. And Kyler Murray's obviously out till like
Kyler
week
Murray's
8
leg
next
broke
year.
in half, technically. Ligaments left.
But I got faith in Colt McCoy.
Oh, man. I'm picking Denver, but
I'm going to take Denver because Brett Rippon, man, he fucking rips it.
let her rip. Moving on to New England at Las Vegas. I don't really want to spend any more time on the Broncos.
No, that's fine.
Las Vegas at New England. I've got Las Vegas.
Hey, I
think
have this start as a pretty good game. This is an interesting game to me.
I think the Raiders are going to be mad. I think they're going to come out and I think they're going to prove a point on New England. I think you see a lot of the issues with New England. Mac Jones and Matt Patricia clearly are not on the same page.
Oh, they're mad at each other.
Every fucking week they're yelling at each other. So,
well, we got to
eventually
mention
that's not going to work.
this is Josh McDaniels versus Bill Belichick right here. This is a very
I can tell you
interesting
this
game.
much: the Super Bowl for the Broncos of Josh McDaniels being the coach was when he beat Bill Belichick. It was the most emotion you've ever seen out of the guy.
Yeah.
He ran down the whole field like, yeah, we did it.
All right. So I would expect for him to use Josh Jacobs 25-plus times,
He should
runs
use him
and
35.
pass. I've said it before.
Run him into the ground.
Josh McDaniels, when he has a running back in a contract year, will run that running back till he's dead. And that's what he's going to do to Josh Jacobs, who's been questionable for me. I can say this personally because I have him on my team. All year long, he's been questionable. Josh McDaniels is going to use Josh Jacobs
Might as well.
till he's dead. And that might take him
Then
to the
trade him.
playoffs. We'll see. But actually, no, because they lost last week. But still, I've got Vegas picked in this game.
So do I. It's going to be a worthless win for either team. But moving on to Tennessee at the LA Chargers.
This is another very interesting game.
I've got the LA Chargers.
I've got the Chargers picked too. I think they're really starting to find themselves, especially with Mike Williams and Keenan Allen healthy, who Keenan Allen is better than Mike Williams.
Yeah, that's what Chad's going to say, but we'll see who gets more targets and more points next
Let's
week.
see. Let's fucking see. All right.
We can easily make that a whiskey wager. Moving
fucking do a
on
bunch
to
of shots next week.
Cincinnati at Tampa Bay. I've got Cincy. Tampa Bay is going to win their division with a losing record. Cincinnati is not. Cincinnati wins easily.
Yeah, easily. Tampa Bay last week, they lost 4 key starters. They lost Vita Vea, Jamel Dean, and a couple other big starters that I can't name right now because I'm a little drunk. But either way,
Yeah, it happened fast this week.
it did. Cincy is going to win by 21-plus in this game. Tampa Bay and Tom Brady, I think he's going to be trying to get consolation with his new soccer girlfriend.
He's got a new girlfriend? Dang. Tom
So
Brady
is the
moves quick.
rumor around the high
The
school.
rumor mill. All right, moving on to New York Giants at Washington Redskins. This is a
Whoa!
redo
Don't
of
fucking
the
say that word, man.
Redskins.
I can't believe it. You, as someone who carries
If that's
a
what
card,
they're gonna name it forever, they might
cannot
as well
believe
call
you.
it that.
I cannot believe you. And you call me
These
racist.
racist motherfuckers.
Jesus.
The Washington Commanders. I got the Commanders picked in this one. I
Yep.
think the Giants. You look at their last, I think 5 or 6 games. They have a very not good record. Their first games, I think they were 6-1, 7-1, and now they're
Yeah,
2-4 or something like that.
All
They're
right,
not doing very
so
good.
Barkley seems to be hurt with that neck injury, and that seems to really make a difference in their game plan. I have a question for the listeners out there. If you could help me figure this out, I'm in the
Please
playoffs, and yes, please help me out. So, should I start Saquon Barkley against the Eagles or against the Commanders? Sorry. Or Isaiah Pacheco against the Texans, the Texans are the worst team against the run.
I think you just answered your own question by saying that out loud.
Well, I just need to get, I want to get some input.
Let's see
Chris.
what the people
Come on.
say. But
Let's
if
see what
I'm the
say.
people, I'm going Pacheco.
It's Saquon Barkley. It's hard to pick against
His
that.
neck's falling off.
Yeah, that says a lot. I've got the Commanders picked in this one. They're
all right.
favored by 4.5.
This is the last game, so we're out of Sunday. We're into Monday.
Yep.
LA Rams versus Green Bay. I've got Green Bay. I think this one's pretty straightforward. The Rams are done.
I don't know if you saw or watched Monday Night Football from last week, but Troy Aikman was really bitching about that shitty game last week. So I'd see another. My prediction for this game is Troy Aikman throwing another tantrum because it's another bad game.
Terrible offensive game.
Yep. So Packers are going to win this game because the Rams suck.
All right. Well, that's going to bring us to the DDOE.
Wait, one sec, dude. I just want to give a little. I know you're fucking ready to get out of here.
I
Just
gotta
chill.
pee. That's
Go
my
fucking
problem
pee.
right
I'm gonna cover the UFC real quick,
now.
man.
Okay. Well, you do that. I'm gonna go pee.
Hurry up and make sure you
You
fucking
just see
lift
everything.
up the lid, man. I'm getting in trouble. God damn. This week we got a good UFC fight night to end the year. Jared Cannonier versus Sean Strickland. Jared Cannonier, last time he fought Israel Adesanya. You know, Izzy really picked him apart. He really just tried to avoid getting knocked out, which I do commend him for. That was a smart move. But Cannonier is a dangerous motherfucker. And Sean Strickland's a total douche. Everybody hates him. He says all the worst things. Nobody likes him. He is, I don't know how to put it, but just, yeah, basically a total douche. And not that great of a fighter. It's a good main event. Later down on the card, pay attention to Drew Dober. Homer pick for me. He fights out of Denver versus Bobby Green. Bobby Green's a veteran. Fought nearly 50 fights in the UFC. He's a great guy. Got a lot of experience. Drew Dober looks like a fucking Avenger. Like he was created in a lab. But fights out of Denver, so I'm a homer for him. So I'm going for Dober. So we got a good UFC fight night to end the year. I know last week I got a little drunk. I forgot to preview the pay-per-view.
It happens.
It does happen. Alcohol, we have a good time here. But either way, if you don't have anything going on after the Bills and Miami game, tune in to the UFC fight night. Now, Chris, let's get into the DDOA.
Now we're at that point of the show, the DDOE, also known as the Daily Dose of Excellence, brought to you exclusively by John Daly. And right now, you're going to hear the musical stylings of that man, the legend himself, John Daly.
I hit it hard, man. So far, man. No laying up, no holding back. Ain't afraid of nothing, it's a natural fact. I hit it long, man. Till it's gone, man. Keep taking chances, living large. I hit it hard.
And we are back. That was John Daly with Hit It Hard, man. Chad, did you feel hit hard by that one?
I did. The legend himself, John Daly.
Man, the guy just pisses excellence every morning that he wakes up.
Wouldn't that be
Much like
so
us.
awesome to be sponsored by Hooters, like his son, who golfs for Arkansas?
Yeah, he's got
and
an
is now-
NIL deal with Hooters as his main sponsor.
Maybe we go to Hooters and get free chicken wings. That'd be fucking sweet.
Ah, man, I would eat there every day.
Hooters, listen to this, please.
Somebody, anybody. Anyways, so the Daily Dose of Excellence this week, once again brought to you by John Daly and Hooters. They're now an unofficial sponsor. Thank you, Hooters. This week it is Nelson Aguilar, and he is helping out Devontae Parker. This is kind of a crazy sequence of events in the NFL world. You see a wide receiver catch a ball, take a hit. Clearly, everybody on his team knows he is concussed or something is not right.
He's wobbling when he gets up.
They're in the 2-minute offense, so they're immediately trying to get back on the ball. And you see Nelson Aguilar just frantically. Devontae Parker, I don't know how he does it. He's obviously out of it. Manages still to line up on sides in formation. And Devontae Parker's just trying everything he can. Or not Devontae Parker. I'm sorry. Nelson Aguilar is trying everything he can to get the referees to notice him that Devontae Parker's like out on his feet.
Yeah.
And he still was. I mean, they finally got the play whistle dead. And they got him off the field. But this is one of those situations, much like, the Tua situation where, this guy takes one more hit. You're talking about, like, it could be serious, permanent brain damage. And the guy was clearly out, wobbly. The same thing happened in the Chiefs game with Russell Wilson. And, like, with the Tua stuff that happened in, like, week 3 or week 4, stuff's changing very quickly in the NFL landscape. And these head injuries, I don't know what it is, man.
I know what it is. It's not helmet to helmet. It's rarely players causing
it's
other
whipping to the ground.
It's the ground. When are they gonna put pillows underneath the
These
turf?
guys need pillows.
Come on,
Yeah,
it's
Or
not
just
it's not rocket
trampolines.
science.
Remember that trampoline basketball league that happened there for a
That
little bit? It
was
like
awesome
half
on
court.
TNT or Spike TV. I
Yeah,
think
it
was
was
what it
Spike
used to
TV
be.
or
Yeah,
something.
yep. I loved that shit, man. It looked fun.
Yeah, no, I mean that's basically what they need to do because that's what's happening. I mean, you've got these big ass fucking 280, 270 pound defensive linemen whipping down these little quarterbacks, and when you get all that momentum going like that, the first thing to hit your head. I mean, I guess Russell Wilson. I still haven't seen a picture, but I guess he had a fucking
He had
lump
a
on his head.
Goose egg on
Yeah.
his head. Yeah.
And it's stuff like this where it's just like, man, like I'm surprised we haven't seen more people die in the NFL.
Oh, I know. I didn't want to,
But I mean,
Either way, no, we got to mention who deserves the daily dose of excellence, which is Nelson Aguilar,
yeah,
which is
saved his buddy's life.
yeah, he's instead of worrying about the game or the score or anything like that, which is minuscule when it comes to a player's safety, he tried taking a knee and tried stopping the play, which he eventually was able to do to get Devontae Parker out of the game.
Yeah, and it's like I said, you watch the hit that Devontae Parker took. Like when he got up, people like had to like readjust him once he stood up to like get him to walk in a straight line. It's just like how is there somebody who's like for one some sort of neurologist to be watching these games like as a third party
Right.
not notice that?
That's
When even somebody like me or you
yeah.
who don't know shit can tell that guy's knocked the fuck out.
Supposedly there's spotters now.
Yeah.
Where they're supposed to be looking for this. I don't know what the hell they were looking
That's what
at.
I'm saying. I think they're
Maybe
like
the
neurologists.
cheerleaders or something like that. Like, how can you not tell that this guy couldn't line up to the line of scrimmage? Because it was just clear as day. And they should have stopped play because this guy needed to be taken off the field. And that's why this guy deserves the award this week because, I mean, the fact that he could have gone another play and maybe take another hit, like Chris said, could have led to way more damage. And Devontae Parker is probably buying many rounds, probably buying a watch for this guy, because that's what he deserves.
Yeah, he does. I mean, it's you never know anymore. I mean, like we said, we're lucky we haven't seen that many people actually die playing football. But I mean, God forbid you see something like that where a guy's clearly knocked out, take another hit, and lose his life. I mean, that could be the end of it.
Yeah, we never want to see that. Or just, like, take a concussion and be out multiple weeks. It's
Somebody
just,
winds up a vegetable or some shit like that.
we
Like,
never
God
want to see
forbid.
that. If they're ever shaken up, I mean, that's just it. We all realize that these guys pretty much are the modern day gladiators, and we know that they're putting their lives and their brains on the line.
We aren't too far from watching people kill one another again.
Yeah, it's kind of a subtle gladiator version of everything. And
Yeah.
so, the fact that a guy would step in and realize that, hey, this guy's hurt, we need to get him off the field, says a lot about his character. So, Nelson Aguilar, I commend you. You deserve this daily dose of excellence awarded by John Daly himself.
And from the Fringe Fanatics Sports Podcast, this one
Exactly.
is to you, Nelson Aguilar. Way
Cheers
to, go,
you,
man.
man. Thinking of others.
And one quick, we don't normally do this, but I wrote it down. We talked about him. Hansel Emmanuel. I don't know if you've seen this guy. He is a one-armed D1 college athlete playing basketball. There's a video we'll probably post along with this. We're not going to go super deep into it, but go check him out. This guy might make it into the NBA. What was his name for the Seahawks? The two brothers, the twins?
Oh, my God. Fuck, you put me on the spot. Griffin?
Griffin.
Shaquille
Griffin and
Shaquille.
was
Shaquille was one of them.
Shaquem. Or
yeah.
something like that.
Something like that. Playing with one hand.
One of them was born, they're twins. The umbilical cord got wrapped around one of their arms. They basically had to amputate one of the twins' arms. Both of them wound up playing in the NFL. The one who did have one arm just recently retired and said he thanked the NFL for everything they did for him, but he's going to go do bigger and better things, kind of realizing he reached the limit of what he could do in the NFL. But this guy, Hansel Emmanuel, they're talking about him. He might be a legitimate NBA player with one arm. And in this video we're gonna tag on this post when we release the episode, this guy shoots his own free throw, mind you, one arm. he misses, which it is what it is. There's plenty of guys with 2 arms that miss free throws. This guy not only misses, gets the rebound, and dunks the shit out of the ball over people with 2 arms. This guy's awesome. Check him out. Make sure you know about him. Who knows what's going to happen, but I mean, if a guy with 1 arm can make it in the NBA, what the hell are you doing with your life?
There's nothing stopping you. Yeah.
Exactly. All right, Chad. We're at the end now. And I just want to say, we got new lights. Things look good. I feel like we look good.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, we're moving on up. Things are looking better. Things are feeling better. And it's only going up from here.
Each week we're upgrading. We want to thank our sponsors once again. Mark Martin Archery, Sarah Rose Daycare,
My parents.
Sarah's Playhouse Daycare. Sorry, Mom. And then Huddle Hat. Check them out. Amazing hats with a face mask.
Doyle Lamphere, he ran into us at the live stream out in Lot D at Empower Field.
Yep.
He's selling beanies. He's got a whole bunch of different.
Go to the
teams.
Instagram, Huddle Hat. You'll
Yep.
find them.
You'll see him at Huddle Hat. I bought one. They're fucking cool. They're now our unofficial sponsor. We will be tagging them in this episode. Make sure and go and check them out. We appreciate each and every one of you. And if you are listening right now, please like, share, subscribe, follow, and rate us. It makes all the difference in the world, and it's not that big of a deal for you guys to do it. It's clicking one button, liking one thing, sharing one thing.
And
Please
once
do it.
again, if you guys got any ideas for next week's Daily Dose of Excellence, if you got any stories, local stories,
anything.
please send them our way. We will promote it.
Yeah, just we got a lot of work going on, so if you guys can alleviate a little bit of that, by all means, we'll greatly
much-
appreciate it. We already
great.
love you all to death. Chad, I love you.
Love you, brother. Cheers to
See
you.
next week, man. I love you. This has been great.
Yep. It's episode 15.
In the books, Fringe Fanatics. See you guys next time.